But first, Hosni Mubarak has been moved to a military hospital from a Cairo prison because his condition is said to be serious. The former president, a man who is described sometimes as a modern-day pharaoh, is now on life support. His sons, Gamal and Allah, have not been allowed to see him, but his wife, Suzanne, who's half Welsh, is with him. Let's cross live now to Sherine Tadros in Cairo. Let's talk first about the latest health bulletin on former President Mubarak. There are conflicting reports. Sherine, what is the latest from Cairo?
Well, according to official sources and state media, Hosni Mubarak is still in the intensive care unit at that hospital in a Cairo suburb. His wife, Suzanne Mubarak, is by his side. He's still hooked up to a respirator. Of course, all of this after he suffered heart failure on Tuesday night. We're hearing from other sources that he is getting a little bit better, that he's responding to treatment. But really, Stephen, beyond that, we have very little information. And that in itself is cause for, if not anger amongst Egyptians, certainly a lot of cynicism, because once again they're seeing this cloud of different conflicting information, reports, rumors surrounding Mubarak's health, like they've heard in the last few months and like they even heard before his ouster when he was still in power. And bear in mind that in the past year we've heard many reports of Mubarak's deteriorating health and in fact even at some points of his imminent death, and this information tends to come to us at strategic moments. For example, last year when he was arrested and he was meant to be moved to prison from the sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh where he was at. He was deemed too ill to do so, so he remained in Sharm el-Sheikh. Again, 2 weeks ago on the 2nd of June, when he was convicted for his part in killing protesters and was sentenced to life, he was sent to a prison for the first time since his arrest. His lawyers immediately started saying that his health is deteriorating and he should be moved to a more comfortable facility, which is where he's at right now.
Let's move on, Sherine, to the former president's successor. A lot of gossip, a lot of traffic on Twitter and social media especially about the vote counting. Allegations now appearing of millions of missing votes. What are you hearing about that?
Yes, a lot of not just uncertainty, but also confusion over who is Egypt's next president. I mean, for the last 16 months, Egypt has been without a president. This morning, Egyptians wake up to this bizarre claim by both of the candidates in the runoff, Mohamed Morsi and Ahmed Shafiq, that they've won. And what they're doing is presenting rival sets of data, rival sets of vote counts to prove their claim that they've won. Meanwhile, you have the Elections Commission that is starting to hint that they may not be able to announce a winner on Thursday as scheduled because of these hundreds of complaints that have been filed against the process of the runoffs, claims of voter irregularities, voter fraud, and in fact 3 workers from different polling stations in 3 different provinces have now been detained on charges of trying to manipulate the vote. So not only are Egyptians facing several more days perhaps of not knowing who the next president is and all this confusion, they also face the possibility, however unlikely, that the runoff vote would have to be repeated altogether because of all of these claims of irregularities.
So many claims, Sherine, of irregularities and conflicts surrounding possible truths. I wonder if finally you can talk a little about the mood where you are. There was quite a low turnout in the presidential election, and there's conflict obviously between the candidates and the parties, and between Mubarak loyalists and the Muslim Brotherhood. Are people tired in Cairo? Are people tired of this constant conflict and uncertainty in Egypt?
Absolutely, they're exhausted, and I'd say that those forces that we would expect to really react very strongly to what is going on in the country right now are fresh out of ideas. I mean, we saw a big protest happen, tens of thousands take to the streets yesterday, Tuesday, but really that petered out, and the idea is not just what will these forces do. going forward. But what can they do? Tahrir is essentially now a space that has been given over from the authorities to the protesters. But what can they do beyond that to try and prove their point? And the main crux of the problem right now, why so many people are upset, is because of this feeling that the military is solidifying their own coup or dictatorship, or however you want to term it, in the country through the various moves that they've made, particularly in the last 2 weeks, especially, of course, taking more power, stripping the president, the incoming president, of power and taking more power for themselves. So it is a very uncertain time going forward, and the next few days of Egypt's transition very much in the air and very uncertain.
Indeed. Sherine Tadros in Cairo. Thanks, Sherine.